Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. Do you know what I'm talking about?
This is that YouthSpin show. This is that YouthSpin show. This is that YouthSpin show.
Good evening, Anguilla, and welcome to yet again another YouthSpin show. This is show number 15, and we're on a roll. We're having a great time doing this. Tonight's theme is Youth Limelight. We will be shining the light on one of our brilliant young men here in Anguilla, Mr. Jibri Lewis. I'm going to introduce you to Mr. Lewis in just a bit. I am your host, Mr. Controversy. With me tonight is my producer, Mr. Aki Olai, and our technician slash host slash IT man. Introduce yourself, sir.
This is your boy KB up in here, keeping it real, everybody.
And don't forget, this is an interactive show, so you can WhatsApp us at 729-9410 if you should have a question or want to make a comment at any point during the show. Also, you can Facebook us at YouthSpin AXA. So we're going to our first dance break so our guests can get situated and you can put a smile on your face. This is a new treat for YouthSpin. We're going to be doing our first album review tonight as well. And we're going to listen to a song off that album right now. So our first song is going to be Drake Successful.
I want the money in the cars in the cold, I suppose.
And welcome back. So allow me to introduce our guest, Mr. Jibri Lewis. Tell us about yourself. Who is Jibri Lewis?
Who is Jibri Lewis? That is a question that's puzzled me for some time. I'll give you a little background of Jibri Lewis, and you can make your own assumption. Born and raised in Anguilla and have loved every minute of it. Went to Island Harbor School, lived in the Valley, went to Island Harbor School, with interest in there.
How was that experience?
That was quite a pleasurable experience because I was forced to learn a whole new set of social skills, having to have people at home, which is like the yard friends, and then have people at school, which is the school friends, and then being in totally different areas and have different like boat crazy, and then Ray Hill people being a little bit plane crazy and car crazy. So it was a very cool mix of people that I had friends of. Then went to Albina Lake Hodge, as everyone did, met a whole bunch of new friends. Explored, gotten more contact with people who shared my sort of interests. Whereas in like Ann Harbor, very small school, if you're familiar with it, I had like maybe 10 people in my class. Very small school, very limited friends, or very limited socialization. So when I reached the Albina Lake Hodge, I had loads more friends where my interest in technology and coding and advancing myself and so on and blah blah came from. So after Albina Lake Hodge, did the sixth form journey. People criticize sixth form quite often, but it was one of the most important times in my life, sixth form. Not necessarily from what sixth form gave me, but from the opportunity that stemmed off of sixth form. And after that, I guess we're going to go into that a little bit later in the interview because that's where the interesting stuff is.
Yeah, I know. I like that stuff because it's not something you come across, like me anyway. It's not something I come across in Angola every day. Someone that does the stuff that you do, and because I was talking to you and when you were off here, and you would say some stuff, but I can't even begin to fathom what you're talking about. But you sound like you know what you're talking about, so I believe you. So another thing, app development. What inspired your interest in app development? Like, how does one become interested in that? Like the whole coding language and all
I'm
that
not just
stuff.
interested in app development, like the whole coding computers. It's amazing. A wise man once said, and if a wise man didn't say it, I say it.
Therefore, wise man said
therefore, a wise man said
it.
it.
Yep.
In a world that's slowly being controlled by computers, he who controls the computer controls the world.
Wow. Say that one more time. Somebody should write that down.
I'll say it again. In a world where that's slowly becoming controlled by computers, ye who controls the computers control the world.
I like that. You will see that on my Facebook page in the near future.
And coding is basically learning to control the computers. I started at a very young age inside of the local IT class. Fun fact, I was kicked out of the IT class.
Wow.
I was kicked out of the IT class, which ultimately was better for me in the future because it made me venture off and try and learn coding myself, which happened to be much more beneficial. I learned at my own pace, which was a lot faster. From there, I just did a whole bunch of online courses, got in contact with people inside the school that were familiar with coding, shared coding jargon, talked about coding, online forums, and just advanced myself from there. If anyone is in the school or being in Lake College right now and they are in third or fourth form and they decide now which subjects to take, right now out of Anguilla, computer engineering or computer science, it's an amazing field to look into. It's an international language.
Yep.
You can do anything anywhere in the world with computer science. It's
Yep.
never gonna go the side. Engineering is amazing, but it's slowly fading away. Loads of things are fading away. Computer science is never gonna fade away. Mark my words right now. Computer science is never gonna fade away. If you're at all interested in computers, even if you like just playing with them, ripping them apart, putting them back together, that's where computer engineering starts, and you should try it out.
Nice. So, what do you do outside of app development? Like, are you employed now? Are you in school? What are you doing right
Oh
now?
my gosh, I do so many things.
Wow.
So right now I'm in transitions phase from sixth form to school. We'll talk about that a little later, I guess.
Yes, we wait after this question.
So I managed to take a year off, sort of, because I'm going to school in the United States and there's a whole jump and I'm not exactly ready to take that jump. So I took a year off to find myself of sorts. In the time I've been teaching at the school, helping Ravi, Lloyd, teaching digital media production, where we're teaching the sixth formers, among other things, we're teaching them website design and development and app development. I help just about as much people as I can create a website. I do apps more personal on the side because not much people are interested in having an app in Anguilla yet.
Not yet. But we'll get there.
We'll get there. I'm trying to start my own little thing that I have, at least a vision of the Anguilla online revolution sort of thing, where I'm trying to get as much small businesses online if possible, or have an online feature or online presence.
You know what
I'm working
angle
up-
that you can attack on? I worked in telecommunications for a little bit, and they charge a lot to send out those text message blasts.
Yeah.
So if you develop the app, this could be your next project. You can fund, well, you don't need to fund any semester, but you can fund a car in the United States. By developing an app for a company, and have them with the ability to send out their own blast without having to pay, one of our telecommunications company.
And then my digital bill gonna go sky high.
Yeah, because they need to
'Cause they
recoup
got-
that
they
money. Yeah. So, talking about school, you received a scholarship from MIT, and you received that scholarship under some very unique circumstances, and I hope we have a huge, I hope we have our hugest audience that we ever had tonight, because this is some amazing stuff, Anyway, we talk about Angola being placed on the world map by our athletes and our musicians and our solo artists and stuff. I mean, I think you're doing a pretty good job on putting us on the map as well, because this is a dot in the grand scheme of things in planet Earth. And for somebody that comes from here to do what you did, is pretty amazing. And I feel good to be Anguillian right now. And I feel good to have some roots in Island Harbor and we're healing in the valley because that means some of why you got in me somewhere. I just got find it. So, so tell us about how you received that MIT scholarship.
Yeah, so it all started in Albina Lake Hodge. Again, I wanna
Good
stress
things
that.
coming up there.
Yeah,
Big up
good
the Alvina
things.
Lake College Comprehensive School.
It started from our local Anguilla science fair. I did the science fair. I do the science fair every year, but I never really go in the science fair with the aim to win. It's more of the go in the science fair because teachers would like you to go in the science fair and might as well participate.
Right.
Participation points, one of them. But I did it to participate, and I ended up taking home every award they had. Beautiful. I
Nice.
was through the moon. People were making a big deal of it. I was happy.
It obviously didn't
Yeah.
stop there.
So after that, I was like, wow, that was really, really cool. Next science fair coming up, I have eyes on me to win everything again. So I go put a little bit of effort into it. I came up with, I did some research in the reflection of light or the diffusion of specular energy. So I did that, which is a very physics-based project. And it's more of a concept, and it's very important when you're dealing with like photography, but not so much in other fields. And if you don't really have a understanding of it, then you're not going to really be able to appreciate the project.
Because I feel really stupid right now.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound that interesting.
But continue. I don't
Understandable.
understand nothing.
Because of that, I came like about like third in my category, which is not very good, but it's very disappointing to me because I really, really, really wanted to win. I'm a winner. That's what I do.
That's what's up.
So, the person who won the science fair that year, their project was themed around energy, solar energy specific. This is when we were having this whole big thing with Anglic, and they wanted to put solar panels on every roof and so on. So everyone was very
Into
sensitive-
solar.
into solar energy. So like first place and second place was solar energy. So I said, hey, I'm gonna do energy, my next project. So I did it. I decided I'm not going to follow everyone exactly. So I'm gonna find my own version of energy. So I was thinking wind energy, but there was a little bit complications with energy. And I did some exploring, and I found hydro energy. Specifically, I'm from like half of my mom's from Holland, and a place in Holland that she used to grow up near the sea had a hydro energy farm. That's what I think they will call it. And it basically gathers energy from waves. Same way as like a wind energy would work, except for it's a lot more condensed and slow moving, but a lot more powerful at the same time. It recently closed down and lost a whole bunch of people a lot of jobs. And I was interested in that. I looked it up. Why did it close down? Because it's so far off the coast of Holland. Because it has to be. Because that's where all the strong currents are.
Yeah.
And in order to transmit all that current back and forth, it was way too expensive. It just wasn't profitable anymore. And I was like, whoa, that's disappointing. So I did some more research on top of this wave power, which was so interesting to me. Found another one in England that recently closed down as well. And then I found one in China. China or Japan? China, one of those Asian countries. And that one was doing amazing. Like, I think it was like the top 3 power plants in China or Japan. I think it's China. Look it up for China. Okay. So, in China. And that one was like doing amazing, making a whole bunch of money, super profitable. I was like, why is this working for them, not him? Turns out that because of their unique positioning, at least one of the coasts or one of the places they had control over, they had access to really, really nice currents, really, really close to shore. And after that, I started researching. And then, just by coincidence, I do a lot of hiking, nature stuff. And I happened to venture over to Windward Point. You know where the Windward Point is?
Yes, sir.
Very far on the other side of the island. If you've ever been there, you will note one thing, and that's the waves. Huge waves. Very, 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 very frequently. So, and high winds as well. So,
Windward Point.
yeah. So if there's one thing that I've got from my parents and just from my family in general is to always respect the sea. Respect the power of the sea specifically, because one of them was a very good fisherman and one of them was a who walked on top of a shipping boat.
Mm.
Respect the power of the sea, son. Respect the power of the sea. And that was in
Stuck
the back
with
of my
you.
head somehow. And I was respecting the power of the sea. So I was interested in it. So I found it out. I saw, hey, that's a huge amount of wave power. I wonder how much wave power I would need to do a little turbine here, and I'm going to produce some power. So I got some. So I did my project, very small scale. I created a little turbine about a foot and a half long. Connected it to a little generator that I created on land, and I produced some power, enough to get a shock. I didn't measure it, but enough to get a shock.
Okay.
So I entered that in the science fair. Came good. I would think I came second. Happy, not so happy though, at the same time. But it, for the people that were interested in it, they were extremely interested in it. They thought it was amazing and brilliant. And they insisted I join another science fair, a regional science fair among the Caribbean islands called the Sagicor Visionaries Challenge. So I did that science fair. With that science fair, they provide you with a mentor, or assistant. Sorry. They provide you with a mentor and assistant based on your field. So mine was engineering. They provided me with an engineering guy. So the guy I got, amazing guy. I'm not going to say his name because I don't think he would want me to. Amazing guy. And then, but he couldn't really help me specifically with that project because it wasn't in his field. So he deferred me off to another guy, who then deferred me off to another guy. This other guy happened to be the dean of administrations for MIT.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah. I kept it in the back of my mind, but then again, it was a work aspect. And I wasn't like poking like, hey, by the way, I'm ready to go to school. So after this whole project, I get through, I did the whole project, I created the next turbine. I'm working with him all the time, corresponding, getting information. He give me information, sending me notes and so on. I get the whole project done and I'm creating a huge amount of power. So I set it up, the whole system. This one was about 2.5 feet. By 2.5 feet, it was a square.
Mm-hmm.
I placed inside a kind of fall in the ocean with the help of a whole bunch of people from Island Harbor. Placed it kind of fall in the ocean and then placed the generator on the top of the land. And then I went to the store that you have right on top of the hill, get some drink, because it was me and some friends. We were hanging out, get some drinks, come back. Time came back, generator blew out. Burnt like black.
Too much power.
Amazing. But we had a clip on it, so we could get how much we were getting. I think we were getting 160 was the peak. So that was really, really, really impressive. So I went to my mentor, told him the data we're getting. He's like, no, not possible. You're not getting this data. That is too much to come from a little offshore keep in Anguilla. So he was like, nope, you have to go and recheck that. So I can't recheck that, but that's our data. Submitted it, so on and so. He brushed it off. So after that science fair, I came fourth, which was quite disappointing in the regional science fair. But like the experience I had, amazing. The people I met, amazing. Wonderful experience. After that, I do a lot of volunteer work by the Anguilla National Trust, based in the valley. They do a lot of environmental projects, and there was a Queen's Jubilee grant going around, or just being advertised for, and I think it's a yearly thing, and then you can apply for a project, and then you get funding, and you go on and you do your project. So I applied for funding, and I got the funding. It was 10,000 US dollars to do my project. With that money, I was able to create a larger prototype of my model, like a concrete, stable setup that was in the water for quite some time. I was able to get that out there with a generator, a much higher quality generator. And I was able to correspond with the same guy in MIT who got me in contact with some people in Puerto Rico who had a Doppler system, which is basically like a radar that can measure movements inside of waves. And then I asked, and Anguilla is just in the range from the one in Puerto Rico. So I got them to measure the waves for Window Point. And then like they measured it and they were like, I'm gonna get back to you. And then I got the professor calling us like, you have some incredible wave action happening at Window Point. So incredible. We would like you to run some other tests for us. So I got this, they emailed me this whole ink system where I would put the ink inside the water, just like ink droplet, and then I would measure how long it took for it to travel a certain amount of distance, which was about 2 meters, and then I would measure and send that information, and also take some samples of the water and so on, and carry it down. So I did my whole project. Project was a huge success. I had a public forum for it. If any of you were out there, you know a little bit more about what I'm talking about. Had a public forum, talked to some of the local people, got their issues, got where they liked the idea, so on. And it was brilliant, huge success. I know this is a long story. I'm wrapping up really soon.
I think it's interesting though.
Okay.
It is.
And then, out of no correlation with the grant, but just because of my further research, MIT was incredibly interested in have this project
Go ahead.
to have this project
Uh-huh.
in their school or to develop it, and they wanted to give me some resources for it. So they were like, we will give you a half a scholarship, and we will give you an internship with one of our professors in order to work on your project further, and then you will get paid for this internship, which will cover all the costs of your schooling. And then, but I would have to work summers and winters with this professor, and I would still have to go full time in school, and I would have to bounce. So,
Man, look, I'm paying a student loan right now. Trust
Yeah.
me. You got that's a good deal.
but it was also forced into mechanical engineering and physics as the subjects that I would take in school because they correspond with the project.
Mm.
And if you just heard a
Software
computer
guy.
science
Yeah.
guy, so that was a bit of a issue, and I was hesitant to go there, and I didn't really want to go. So like I was pressing my luck by negotiating with them, trying to negotiate a scholarship. Yeah, the balls on that kid.
Yeah,
So-
I'm saying though.
So,
Well, you can. You
but
can.
I did.
Oh.
So I negotiated the scholarship, and I got it down to full scholarship. Still have to do the internship, but only through winter, and I also have to be on call to go to Puerto Rico and Florida if there's any just wave activity that I need to go and measure. So that was the final arrangement, and I got that set up, and hopefully I'm off to school in September. That's the whole.
Man, that's brilliant. You got a full scholarship and a job, and you,
An unpaid job.
unpaid job. You got full scholarship, dude.
Yeah.
No interest. Interest is the problem. You don't have to pay interest. Yeah, so you got a full scholarship, you know, from a science project. That's what's up. That's awesome.
From a science project.
You know, I-
Join the local science fair, kids.
Um,
It's worth it in the long run. Just for that 1 in 100 chance, it's worth it.
Can they get an amen? So, and the future definitely looks bright for Angola. I mean, I've been listening.
Yeah,
to
it looks bright for Anguilla because this whole project, which is now in the lesson plan for students who are learning it this semester in school, is about Winwood Point.
in Angola.
It's in MIT.
MIT, wow.
They're learning about
Winwood
Winwood
Point.
Point. So I have students go and call me and send me Skype messages and Facebook messages,
Somebody-
asking me to run some data. Huge things are gonna happen.
I don't know why I haven't heard about this previously. This is amazing. And we hear about some. Don't want to go down that road, but we hear a lot of talk about, you know, renewable energy.
Yeah.
And trying to exploit the resources we have, like wind and solar. But this is some awesome stuff. Like, and none of this was
The
mentioned.
coastline, I don't know if you know it, but where the first base starts, right around to where the second cave of the Winwood Point. If you utilize, with the projects and the data I ran, if you utilize that strip, you can power the whole of Anguilla and then some.
For free.
Well, maintenance costs for the
Yeah.
turbines and so on, but that's minimal. So basically for
For
free.
free. Somebody needs to write
less
this
than
down.
20,000 a year.
You know, somebody needs to write this down. So what are your plans for the future, Mr. Lewis?
My plans are so infinite. Right now, I'm probably gonna end up doing the school thing if I can't get out of it. I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna go to school, do the 4 years, and then see where I feel like going after that. And then I'm gonna come back here, and I'm gonna go back to school, and I'm going to study software engineering, and I'm gonna do something along those lines with software engineering. I'm not sure if what I'm gonna do with the mechanical engineering after, or what I'm gonna do with this project. But right now, where my heart lies, I'm an entrepreneur. I have a great mind. I have a creative mind. I'm not really. Despite how I may sound, I'm not a very behind the desk I'm more of a social person. I like to talk to people, go outside, hang out with people, so on.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really want to get into that track or that field of physics and numbers and mechanical engineering. Because although I may have like a knack for it, it's not something I enjoy doing.
Yeah. So, if I could just encourage you to do anything, it would be to whenever you're finished with your school and to come back and put your contribution to us here in Angola.
I love Angola with
Because,
all my heart. And
you know,
there's one thing for sure, I'm coming back.
You will make a contribution to the greater world. There's no doubt about that. I have no qualms in saying that. I just listened to you for a half an hour and I can see, I already see amazing things in your future. Just make sure a couple of them amazing things is right here in Angola. You know, you can really contribute to our development a whole lot. We both to get into our next dance break. I don't want to do that because this is interesting. This is really, really interesting. But before we do that, what's your favorite song?
My favorite song?
Yeah, what's your favorite song?
Like right now at this moment?
At this moment, what's your favorite song right now? I want to know what I should listen to.
Since we put in with Drake, The Motion.
The Motion?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can pull up The Motion. Let's talk about some other stuff. Let's see if we can pull up
You
The
got
Motion.
to have The Motion.
Can we pull up The Motion, DJ Connor?
You don't have The Motion?
We gonna look for it. We gonna find that.
Alright.
In the meantime, what advice would you give to some other young people pursuing their dreams, whether it be software engineering, you know, anything big?
No project is too small to start with. That's where big things lead from. Start small projects because it leads to something huge. Most small projects lead to something huge. You gotta start somewhere. Don't be humble and take the small projects. Do something pro bono. Help an old friend. Help out a teacher. Help out someone.
Whenever
Do
you
something.
work in, you learn something. That's why.
You're never doing anything for free.
Yep.
No matter what. You're never doing it for free.
That's some good stuff. You working on any current projects? I know your first invention. I was reading on a little bit of your bio. You know, we have an amazing team here at YouthSpin, so they do a lot of research and they send me your bio. I heard that you made your first invention was shout out to Sharice, our amazing team, Miss Brooks. But yeah, you made a boat, a remote control boat from some
Yeah.
spare parts.
Yeah.
What parts you used to make that boat?
So I had like some leftover Christmas gifts, which was just like a
Leftover Christmas gifts.
well, not leftover Christmas gifts, but like Christmas gifts that I played
That-
with and broke and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
So I took it apart, got the engine, got the motherboard, radio receiver from it, hollowed out, got a styrofoam. This is like details if you're a child at home and you want to build it. Got a piece of styrofoam, just
Mhm.
packing styrofoam. Sanded it to a nice mold. Then I did glue over it. You should use resin, but if you probably can't get resin, you just would glue over it and then paint it really well with a special type of paint. I think it's called it's supposed to be a waterproof paint. Actually, parents were a waterproof paint. That's what I did. Waterproof painted very, very well. Then you can sort of scrape out as much of the inside as possible. Create a place for your wiring, and then get a popsicle stick. Now, these motors that you get from these little cars is the small little motors that are about 1.2 volts. A pop stick from a lollipop fits perfectly on the end of that. And you can fashion your own little propeller out the back of it. You shove all of that in, you create a small hole, put it in the back, pop the popsicle stick through, have your engine elevated so it doesn't get touched by water if anything happens. Seal it off, and then you have a remote control board. It's amazing.
How old were you when you did that?
I must have been like 7, 8.
7, 8.
Yeah.
You know, they say hip hop is music for, you know, the not so favorable characters and stuff. But I'm gonna listen to your favorite song and see what a brilliant mind like yours listen to. So this is our guest favorite song at this moment. I hope it's the clean version. Let's go with it.
It's not me and you, it's not me, it's you. The record saying you know it, they don't love you like I do. Say you're moving on, well I guess that's just emotion. I guess that's just emotion.